Hello everyone! It's been a long time. I've missed you guys. It's time to do a Let's Talk with some Proteus. I've really wanted to talk to you guys for a while now and let you know what's been going on with me and maybe talk to you guys about what's going on with you. I'm sorry it's taken me so long. Start a fresh new world today. Man, I don't see anything. There looks like there's something over there. Let's go look. Let me preface by saying I'm very sorry that I haven't been around very much for Relaxajin. I first and foremost want you guys to know that everything that has been planned for the channel is still on. It's just been pushed back a little because I've been so ill. Unfortunately, about a month and a half ago, I got very sick. And I not only couldn't talk very well, but I couldn't breathe very well either. So obviously it was impossible for me to make any videos, especially in this kind of sense. And I do apologize for that. I'm very glad to be back. That being said, I know that a lot of you have put in questions for me to answer because that's what I asked you to do before I got ill. And a lot of those went unanswered, and I'm very sorry about that too. So today we're going to walk through Proteus and explore. We're going to enjoy the music. Hopefully you'll enjoy my voice, which still isn't 100% yet, but I feel that it might be good enough to do a video, so we'll see. If you feel that it really isn't, just leave a comment, and I will certainly take that into consideration. Sometimes I'll just stop and let you enjoy the music and ambience. But we are going to do Q&A today. Other than being sick, I have had 2 deaths in the family in the last 2 months, which have been very hard for me. So again, I am sorry that things with Relaxajin always seem to be put on hold for some reason. That's certainly not what I intended, but it just happened that way, so we just have to go on as best we can. But all the games that we showcased and everything, those are still on. And we'll be starting some of those, I think, in the next week or so. My plan right now is to have Relaxajin updated maybe twice a week. Maybe a little more if we're doing a game that we're going to do the full game of. Obviously, my first channel has to take precedence because there's a lot of work going on over there, and I hope you guys will check that out if you never have. You can look at it at my channel box. It's a beautiful day in Proteus today, isn't it? I think this might be one of the games of choice where we have a Let's Talk vlog or something like that, where we're just talking about things, answering questions, because it's just so nice and easy to walk around in and enjoy. If you guys have other games in mind like this where we could do that, we'll just comment about them and I'll certainly take a look at them. I know Minecraft was asked for a couple of times, and we can certainly try that as well. So beautiful today. Let's start with some Q&A. Again, some of these are very old, and I do hope you are still watching to get your question answered. I'm just going to go in the order that I received them. So I have someone named Mr. Staffy3, and he asks, how do you get over losing something dear to you? Back in September, one of his dogs was involved in an accident. They were hoping she would make a recovery, but she had a second accident, and she didn't make it. And they feel like they could have helped out more. They feel like it's all their fault. Well, Mr. Staffy3, I'm sorry about your dog. But it certainly wasn't your fault. I want you to know that. I wanted to answer this one first because some of you may or may not know that my cat, whose original name is Clarence, but we've always called him Bubba. You might have seen him on some of the mailbags on my original channel. He actually passed away 2 days ago. And when I saw this question, I really felt like I needed to talk about this just a little bit. So how do you get over something, losing something dear? Well, the short answer is, you don't. And that's okay. Especially with a pet. It's always going to be our charge to outlive our pets for the most part. Whether or not they have an accident, whether they pass away of natural causes, it's our charge to be there, usually when they're born and when they die. I know it's hard to take when there's an accident involved. And you're probably hurting because of that, and you may hurt for a very long time. And you'll miss your dog. You may always miss her, and that's okay. Every day it'll get a little bit better. That's one thing I like to tell myself. Hurt isn't forever. It always seems like it is. Pain is big and you cry a lot, but you know what? Eventually, the sun comes out. It always does. That's the cycle, right? It has to. Try to enjoy the moments that you had that were happy, and remember those moments as a tribute to her spirit. And without getting too religious, most pagans believe that animals have multiple afterlives. An animal's karma is pretty much clean for life. They go to their paradise for a while and have fun, and then they're reborn. So it's quite possible that you may meet your dog again. You may not know it's her, but she'll be there. Has anyone else ever had a situation like that? I've heard about quite a few, where people lose an animal and somewhere down the road another animal somehow comes to them by sometimes strange means. People aren't sure how it happens. And a lot of people think, well, that was meant to be. I like to think that that's them coming back to you. Just know that it wasn't your fault. Life is like that. There's so many unexplained things. If you love her and remember her memory, she'll never really be gone. I hope that advice helped a little. When I talk about these things with you, I just want you to know, of course, that I'm not a doctor or any kind of professional. I'm a pretty simple-minded person. I like to think very, very simply in the way of things like this. That's how I get through some of these bad times. By not overanalyzing. Sometimes you just have to let things be for a while and see what happens, right? Damien Dimmock asks, what are your thoughts on dreams and how do things like sound affect them? Do they affect them? I think sound does affect dreams. It's probably different for everyone depending on who you are and how you sleep and dream, because everybody does a little different, I think. But haven't you ever had a dream where you heard something in that dream that was strange, and then you wake up to realize that that sound was actually happening in real life? That's happened to me numerous times. Has that ever happened to you guys? I think more than anything, actually, sound affects the way I dream. If I hear something loud or maybe something disturbing or intense, I find it very hard to go to sleep that night. I think that's one of the reasons these kind of things work out so well for people that can't sleep well. Don't you? I have two things that really help me sleep, usually without fail, and that's listening to something relaxing or something that triggers some ASMR within me, or reading a book. Usually the repetitiveness of reading helps me fall asleep, and I know that's common for a lot of people too. What about you? What helps you fall asleep? I would love to have open discussion in the comments about these kind of things where we can talk about it. If you guys make it to the point where you can. Who knows? There could be somebody asleep right now. It's possible. If you are asleep, I hope you're sleeping well. Miss Rora asks, what does it mean to be accepted? That's a big one, isn't it? I find that there is a lot of push right now for people to want to be accepted. But I think there's really no way to define what it means, because I think it means different things for different people. Why do you want to be accepted? Do you feel like you're missing something? Do you feel lonely? Do you feel like you're the only person around? Maybe the only person on the earth that's like you? I feel that way sometimes. But you know what? It's probably very true. There is nobody else on the world like you. And that's okay. Isn't that the beauty of it? I'm not sure I like saying that to me acceptance means, because I don't usually strive for acceptance. What I do strive for is to have friends. Kindred spirit friends that enrich my life and that I can enrich their life in turn. I wish to be a good person on this world and do nice things for people that I don't even know. To me, doing that, even if I'm not accepted, what's wrong with that? Does that make sense? I don't think there should be such a huge push to be accepted. I think you should be yourself and accept yourself. I think one of the biggest problems we face in this day and age is that people don't know how to accept and respect themselves. What do you guys think about that? I feel that it's a big rat race trying to be popular, trying to be super beautiful, super talented, to have something that makes you some kind of special, or to have something that makes you more like everyone else so that you fit in. But I don't really think that needs to be. What's wrong with yourself? 100% of the time, nothing. There's nothing wrong with being yourself. You should think about how would you treat yourself if you were like your best friend? What if your best friend had a problem? What if your best friend or someone you really love or admire came to you saying that they felt terrible, that they felt like they weren't worth anything, that they felt like they weren't accepted by anybody? What would you say to them? Would you comfort them? Would you laugh at them and say, you're not worth anything? You wouldn't do that, would you? But people do it to themselves all the time, every day. And I know it's hard. It's hard not to do that because we put so much emphasis on succeeding and being something. Rather than just being ourselves, we have to put titles on everything. We have to strive for perfection. At least that's what society says. You know what? Erase all that from your mind. Treat yourself for one day like you would treat your best friend if they were hurting or in trouble. You would comfort them. You would say nice things to them. Maybe you would take them out somewhere that they like to go, or do something with them that they like to do. Maybe it sounds stupid at first, but you should try. Do it for a day and see how you feel. And maybe do it again some other time when you feel down again. If you keep that kind of habit up, it might help, right? And if all else fails, whatever this might be worth, I respect you and I admire you and I'm pulling for you. So if you have nothing else, think about that. There's so much fog in Proteus today. I don't think I've ever seen this much fog. You know, no matter how many times I play this, I always find something new. Try that with yourself. How many times have you looked in a mirror and just dashed off and not wanted to look at it? I bet lots, because I've done that lots too. Why don't you try to find something about yourself that you never knew? There's probably loads of stuff to discover. Let's see now. Anonymous writes, "Lately I feel like everything I do is wrong. I feel like I'm making all the people I care about miserable. While I was with my boyfriend, we broke up so he could try to get his state of mind better. I felt like I caused all his issues. Please help." Anonymous, let me tell you something. Everybody has issues. Everyone you meet is going to have an issue. That's okay. That's part of being human. But you know what? It's very, very unlikely that you caused anything. Something you mentioned when you wrote that to me is that you said, we broke up so he could try to get his state of mind better. That makes me think that he was going through some things at that point. And maybe he wasn't ready for a relationship. And you know what? Even though that may hurt, and it may not be what you wanted, that absolutely has no bearing on anything you did. Sometimes our minds aren't in the right place for such things, and it's better to just not pursue them until they are. Does that make sense? Another way to perceive this is, even if you make a mistake in life, you're never directly hurting anyone. If someone has an issue and it's hurting you, maybe you should change your perception on what that means. Change your perception about how you feel. Are they directly hurting you, or are they hurting you because what they say isn't what you want to hear at the time? If it's the second case, maybe you should just perceive differently. Yes, it hurts that me and my boyfriend broke up, but it was the right thing to do right now. And that's okay. That's a mature and okay place to be. Even if it sucks a little. There's always going to be an opportunity later. Just keep telling yourself that. It's very unlikely that you're making everybody miserable around you. What it sounds like to me is that you're miserable inside, and that you feel that your sadness is just overtaking everyone around you. And I bet that if you're around people that know you and care about you, they can probably feel that you're sad. It's okay to be sad. We all have sad times. I'm sad. and I've been sad loads of times. It's okay. If you want to be sad for a while, be sad. You can own that, and that's yours. It's not making everybody else miserable. If anyone comes to you concerned, they probably just want to help you. And that's a wonderful blessing to have. You can just let them know that you're not in a good place, you're not feeling that great, but you appreciate them caring about you. That's all. You don't owe them anything. You don't need to do anything particular. Try to look for the positive things and try to work out why you're feeling so sad inside. Try to do things you like. Try to fill up your sadness with something else. Fill your whole self up with good things so that you don't have room to be sad. That could be something to try if your sadness won't go away after a while, because I do wholeheartedly think that people should be sad when they feel like being sad for just a little while. You can't just block out that kind of emotion. It's important. There's times to be happy, there's times to be sad and grieve. All that is very important. But if it doesn't go away after a while and you feel like you should be in a different place, then maybe you should take some time and look inside yourself and think, what used to make me happy and how can I get back there? And take small steps. You'll get there, I'm sure you will. I'm pulling for you. I hope that it all works out. The wind is picking up here. Let's see. There's some fireflies we can jump into. Maybe over here. Let's follow them. All right. How lovely. Good place. Beautiful here. Mr. Phoenix Cross asks, what is my opinion on long-distance relationships? He's been told by a couple of people that they never seem to work out, but he's known people to have successful ones, and he's in one right now. Well, my opinion on long-distance relationships is just like my opinion on regular ones. They can work out, and they can be tough. Any relationship can be tough, right? Can a long-distance relationship be tougher? Yes, but it depends on you, and it depends on your acceptance of the situation and how you deal with the separation. The good news is I think more and more long-distance relationships are cropping up in this day and age. Since most people are meeting people on the internet nowadays, you really can't, get away from it. Whether it works out is dependent on the two people, and that's true in any relationship. I think that they're just as likely to work out as a regular one, if that makes sense. I know that's kind of a black and white answer, really, but I think that they do work out. I myself have been in some before. They didn't work out for me particularly because I grew to learn that it just wasn't right for either of us at the time. But do I think they can work out for others? Absolutely. They're tough. They just go through different challenges than regular relationships where you can see the person all the time. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. I wish the best for you and your relationship. One thing I would say to people that are maybe trying to pursue one or are in one and not sure, just listen to your heart and yourself. If you aren't feeling fulfilled, if you feel like you can't wait or you're waiting for nothing, if you feel like it'll never work out, or if you feel like it's not the right thing for you, it's okay to think about that and maybe do something about it. Just don't waste anything, yeah? Give it a chance and see, but if you're unhappy, listen to yourself. That would be my advice. Charlie 108 says, I recently discovered that I'm bisexual and I have a big crush on my best friend. We're very close and I don't want to hurt our relationship because I feel like I can talk to him about anything. I told him that I'm bisexual, he's fine with that. What should I do? He also thinks that he's just regular and straight. This is a tough one, Charlie. Your position is a hard one. I don't know if you've already done anything since this question was asked quite a while ago. But on the off chance you're still listening, this one is completely up to you. When you have a really good friend that you maybe want to become either romantically involved with or tell them your feelings, you always run a little bit of a risk. Always. It's up to you to decide whether the risk might be worth it. One thing that might help you is to write down a list of pros and cons. What could be good if I say something? What could be good if I don't say something? What could go wrong if I say something? And what could go wrong if I don't? And maybe looking at it in a list like that might help you. Sometimes looking at it all cut and dry like that helps me when I can't think of a solution. I will tell you that I have been friends with people before that I've gotten romantically involved with. And like a lot of relationships, sometimes they just end and then the friendship ends too. It's a risk that's run. I think relationships are meant to come and go in a lot of times in our lives. They really are. Sometimes friendship too. But I feel that friendships are the thing that's most important because a friend will be there for you whenever, always, forever when you need something, at least a good friend. If you're sure you have a good friend with this person, it just might be something you want to think about, but I wish you all the luck in the world and I'm pulling for you. And if you do follow your heart and decide that you have to tell him, that's okay too. If it doesn't end well because of that, you know what? At least you tried. And maybe, and hoping, if he's understanding and great as you say, maybe he'll understand that you just had to get your feelings out to him and he'll be okay with it. That would be the best outcome, and I hope that's the outcome you get if you try. Well, I'm pulling for you. Let's keep talking about relationships because Lightning Hedgehog 01 wants me to talk about relationships because they sometimes find that they're stuck saying things to their girlfriend in times of trial to cheer her up or when stress gets to him and he doesn't want her to worry. I think a lot of people have trouble with this, me included. You know, when I have stressful times or when I'm going through bad times, kind of like what I've been going through in the last 2 months, everything with my family and my sickness and now the cat. You know what I do when I get sad sometimes, and I mean like really upset? Sometimes I just block myself off everything, like I just step away. I step back, and I spend time with myself. Sometimes I don't even want to talk to my friends, and I know that's a bad thing to say, but I think most of them understand, for the most part. They know that when I get upset and sad or stressed, sometimes I just need time to myself. Now this can differ for everyone. Sometimes when people get really sad or stressed, they need to be around people, and that's okay too. The trick of it is communication. Communicate to your family and friends and loved ones about yourself so that they understand. Because, you know, nobody here really is a mind reader, right? So it's very difficult sometimes because everybody's so different. And it's hard to figure out like what different people need. So communicate that to them. That's okay. It's okay to tell somebody, you know, I'm going through a lot of hard times right now. So I'm going to take some alone time, but I really appreciate you being a friend to me, and I really appreciate that you're caring about me. And as soon as I'm all better, I'll come right back to you and let you know what happened. Sometimes that's all it takes. just so they can understand where you are in life, you know? Now, I also have a problem like you do, comforting people that are sad, but one thing I learned is that you don't have to do everything. Sometimes it's really stressful, right, when our loved ones are sad or really upset because we don't know what to say to make them feel better. And all we want is for them to feel better. But I think there's a lot of unnecessary emphasis on what you should do and what you should say. Why not just tell them that you're there for them? Say, you know what? I love you, or I care about you. I'm your friend. I'm here for you. Anytime, any place, I'm here for you. If you're there in person, you can just sit by them sometimes. Maybe hold their hand if it's that kind of relationship where you can. Just sit by them and let them know that you're there. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything. Sometimes when people just know that you're there for them, that they're not by themselves, that makes all the difference in the world, right? So try that. If you're really stuck, you can say, is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything you would like right now? And offer up what little things that you can do maybe. Nothing huge, just say, what can I do for you? That makes all the difference sometimes, right? So simplify a little. Think of the basics. Look at that pretty white owl over there. Oh, there's two. I hope that helps you. Burn Dark Fire Burn wants to know if I've ever encountered homophobia in my life and what I think about it. Well, I'm not gay myself, but I have encountered homophobia towards my friends that are. And of course, like anything like racism or bullying, it sucks. It really sucks. But it's very likely that you'll come across it a couple times in your life, right? Because this world is made up of a lot of different people with different views. And we can't understand everybody's views, can we? It's just not possible. Just like sometimes people can't understand our views. That doesn't make it right. It just kind of puts it in perspective on why it's so hard to overcome, right? You're always going to come across a hater. That's what I always say. No matter where you are, it's going to happen. No matter who you are. Even people that seemingly have charmed lives and everything is perfect, it's not so. There's always going to be a hater. Because unfortunately, the world has a lot of sad people in it, right? The thing I tell people most in that kind of situation is if you are being treated like that or something, think to yourself, that person obviously is upset in some way. And rather than stoop to their level, build up some armor around yourself. There's a load of different ways to do this. Surround yourself with friends, loved ones, respect yourself, find that respect for yourself, find happiness with yourself. Wear what you are like armor. Own that, right? And nobody can hurt you. That's going to sound very Game of Thrones-ish, but I didn't mean it to. But you know what I mean. It's very good advice. Own yourself. Nobody can touch you if you know what you are and you accept it, right? Why do you need the approval of anybody that's going to act like that anyway? You don't. You don't need it. In a way, it might help to feel sorry for that person because obviously they have a closed mind, and it might be hard living like that. You never know. Just some food for thought. Someone wrote something similar to that, actually, that we can touch on now about bullying. How it's affecting countless lives, and there's increased rate of suicide in teenagers and things of that like a swagger would like to know about bullying. This is a hard one for me to answer because, remember guys, when I was young, bullying took on a very different form than it does now. There was no internet when I was that young. The internet just came out when I was maybe 12, 11? And back then there wasn't even chat, it was a BBS internet, so chat came out a couple of years later. There wasn't anything like that. When you were bullied, You were usually bullied in person. On the schoolyard, walking home from school, things like that. Although that still happens now, it seems to be the majority of it is on the internet or over text or things like that, because it's so much easier to be a bully over words, isn't it? I wonder something. I wonder if it was like when I was growing up, would there be so much bullying now? Because back then you had to back it up with your own self being there. You had to be right there doing it. I don't know. I think that there would be less, because people are using the easy way out, aren't they? By bullying people over the internet and over text and things like that. I really wish I had good advice for this. In my mind, those bullies are people that have such shortcomings in their life that they feel they have to make others miserable. I don't condone anything that they do when a person acts like that, but I have to feel a little bit sorry, because something must be wrong in their life. Again, if you're being bullied, you have to take action. The first thing is never turn it in on yourself. That's somebody else's problem spilling out over you, isn't it? It's not your problem. You own who you are, and you wear who you are outside like armor, and they can't touch you. No matter what they say. They'll say anything, right? For shock value, but are you going to let it bother you? You shouldn't. I know that's easier said than done. If someone really is bullying you to the point where you could be in danger, you certainly need to get help. That's very important. I can't stress that enough. Don't go through it alone. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Talk to your school guidance counselor. I know that probably sounds old and lame, but that's what they're there for. Talk to a teacher that you like. Get help if it becomes too much for you. If you have nobody else in the world to go to, tell me. Tell somebody, right? But don't let them get to you. I think bullying is terrible. And I also think there's two responsibilities. For kids to be raised in the mindset where they shouldn't bully, and for kids to be raised in the mindset that they should respect themselves and not let things like that get to them, if possible. I hope that helps. That's a tricky one, but I hope that anyone that's getting bullied listening to this, I'm pulling for you, right? And I don't want you to go anywhere. So you just own those bullies by looking them right in the face or in the text or whatever you have there in the chat room, and just don't even be bothered by it. Who the hell are they anyway? Endless One wants to know if I could give them some relaxation tips for keeping calm. They like my videos for their seizures when they're home. Could use some tips for when they're out or not near a source to see the videos. Well, thank you, Endless One. I'm really happy that my videos have helped. I hope this video helps you too. I know how it feels sometimes to have anxiety about that being out. People don't know this about me. Well, some people do, but I suffer from a lot of fainting spells because I have severely low blood pressure from blood transfusion problems that I had early on in life. Sometimes when I'm out and about in public, they can get the better of me, and there's really nothing worse than having an episode like that in public. It's very embarrassing. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. You start to get upset about it, and then you don't go out, and then you're missing out on life, right? Don't do that. Some tips I try to do to make myself feel a little better when I'm going out is to plan where I'm going, and to make sure the person that I'm with or people that I'm with are okay to handle anything in a situation like that. That gives me peace of mind, first of all. Another thing I do is I keep a lot of ambient music on my phone, like, with my headset and stuff, little earbuds. Sometimes I just want to sit around and listen to some calming music. It really does help me sometimes. Another thing I might try, and depending on how sensitive you are to smells and things like that, you could try keeping like a small bottle of essential oil with you. Like lavender is really good for calming you down. All you need to do is put like a drop on your wrists and rub it together, and the smell of it can help you calm down. Maybe bring something with you that would relax you, like a sip of your favorite beverage or tea. Like I really love iced tea, especially like half and half iced tea lemonade. Something about that really makes me feel better when I sip at it. So that's something I usually try to take with me too. That could help. Anything that helps you have peace of mind. Planning my outings helps me a lot, and like I said, bringing little things that help comfort me, help me feel better too. I hope that'll help you. I'm really glad to know that my videos have helped you guys, and I do again apologize that they haven't been uploaded as much as I would like, but I think that's all going to change now. Do you guys have other questions for me? If you do, you can write them to me. Private message me on YouTube. I would love to hear them. I would like to do these Q&A sessions once in a while where we can talk and answer questions. And in the comments section, we can also talk a little bit if you're not asleep by now. Some people might be. That's okay too. They can come back later and watch it. Stay tuned also for more actual games. We're going to be playing things like Flower and Flow. Those two are coming up quite soon actually. People have asked for those quite a bit. They will be played. And of course, if you have any kind of game suggestions or, any kind of relaxing things like apps or anything that you want me to look at, go ahead and message me about those too. I love reading about those, and you guys have shown me so many already that I haven't seen before, and I do appreciate that. Just like I appreciate all of you guys. Maybe we can do like topics for these Let's Talks. Maybe we could have one video where we talk about the same topic the whole time. Give me your suggestions. I'm so open to them. For right now, I wish you guys all a good night. I hope you sleep well. And thanks for joining me tonight. Good night, guys.